Arkansas, are you going to make big money as a lien or a deed? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how Arkansas works, okay? It's a phenomenal state. You're going to want to watch this. This is huge. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how you can take a very small amount of money in Arkansas and turn it into tens of thousands of dollars within 12 months. Everything's going to be revealed, so stick around. Now, I want to thank everybody for participating. The support on this channel has been overwhelming. And truly, if it's not for you, I'm not doing these videos. So hit the like, subscribe, and keep those questions coming. I love the dialogue. It gets pretty crazy sometimes out there, but keep them coming in. I love the questions you're doing. That means you're trying, you're making some money out there, and I'm helping it make that happen, okay? So let's get right into Arkansas. Arkansas is a deed state. Now, some of the things that make it so cool about this is it's a low entry point, and I'm going to explain that later on in this video. You don't need a lot of money to get a property in Arkansas, okay? So, you know, again, the thing we get with Arkansas is like, oh yeah, it's Little Rock, home of Clinton, all that good stuff. But it's amazing the value. That section of the country has got so much migration going into that. So I think it's a market that you really need to look at, okay? Number one. Number two, let's talk about what exactly we're looking at. Arkansas is a deed state. That means the person has to be delinquent a minimum of 4 years. So in other words, when they bring that property up for sale, that property is being sold. Okay, there is no redemption period on it, none of that other good stuff on it. So you have to do your due diligence. The nice thing about Arkansas is the value of the properties are a little less, and their assessed values are down. How they assess the property for taxes are way low. So your opening bids could be in the hundreds or thousands, not tens of thousands. Okay, I've seen people in Arkansas buy property for $1,500 to $2,500 and have a $50,000, $60,000 piece of property. And it's really hard for people, you know, on the West Coast or some of those higher net worth, you know, areas to go, wait a second, there's $60,000 property. Who's living in? They're actually pretty nice. Okay, I saw somebody make a whole career in Arkansas where they were buying properties at the sale for $5,000 to $6,000 a piece. That was their parameter that they had set up. And they were averaging about $5,400 per rehab on properties. All of these properties were $50,000 to $60,000 in value, and they were renting each one of these out. I mean, they were doing dozens of these. Okay, so again, it's one of those things that you can't overlook. Here's another thing. This is a great state if you've watched any of my other videos on retirements. Okay, this is a great way to build a portfolio in your retirement account. I mean, think about it. If you just invested $20,000 in your retirement, you contributed $20,000. Let's say you rolled money into your private retirement account that you set up, and let's say it was only $30,000 or $40,000. What can I do with that? Well, guess what? You can buy a house. Okay, so what if you were to pay, you know, $10,000 total for a purchase price and rehab on 3 different properties? Now you got 3 properties that are paying you on a monthly basis, rent and everything else like that. This is like the perfect scenario to relate to your retirement account, okay? So now remember, when buying a tax deed, you've got to do the research on it. First of all, what is the resale value of that property? Where is my market value? And because properties are so different all over the country, it's extremely important that you do some factors on here. You need to know what my ARV, okay, you've heard me say that over and over again, after rehab value, after repair value. I don't care how it doesn't matter to me, okay? So the way I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna take 3 properties that have sold in the last 60 days. So let's say that the subject property that I'm looking at is a, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Let's just use that for an example. And it's 1,500 square feet, small little house, okay? And I see 3 houses in that neighborhood that have sold in the last 60 days. That's crucial, okay? In the market, when the market is very kind of unpredictable, you want to keep your window of when it was sold very, very tight. Okay, if the market's on an uptrend, you can be a little looser on that. But when the market's kind of fluctuating all over the place, I want to keep that tighter. So it's 60 days. So I find 3 properties that have sold that are very close to the subject property. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Okay, I take their sell price and I add them together. That's my bulk, add them together. Then I take their square footage of all 3 of those properties and I add those together. I divide those 2 numbers. So I divide the total value of those 3 properties by 3. Okay, that's my average price. And I divide the square footage by 3, and that's going to give you your average price. And I know that I'm going to have some appraisers out there going, that's not how we appraise. I didn't ask you to appraise a property. I'm trying to buy a property for 10 cents on the dollar. I just want to make sure that value is over there. So now I know the average square foot of those 3 properties and the average sale price, and I divide the square footage into that sale price. That's how much properties are worth per square foot. So all I do is I take this square footage of this property over here, the subject property, and I multiply it by my average per square foot that I got on that other formula over there, and that's what it's going to be worth. I don't care if they're storing gold in the basement. The value of that property in a capitalist society, thank goodness we are, okay, is going to be that. Nobody's going to tell me any differently. Okay, it's really easy to make that happen. So now that I know the value of where that property is, it also gives me the ability to set my bid price on that property. So let's say that opening bid on a property is a couple $1,000s. Okay, and I look at this and I see, okay, properties in that neighborhood are selling for $60,000, $80,000. And again, some of you are going to go, there's no way I can't even buy a driveway for $60,000 to $80,000. Trust me, not every place is sitting on the beach, okay? Somebody wants that property, somebody's going to live, and you can provide a nice home for somebody. Because in this scenario, I want that rental property. So I'm going to make a statement. I want you to write this down and think about it. I've always regretted selling a property 5 years later. I want you to think about that, okay? So there's 2 things. I can make some money or I can build some wealth, especially if I'm doing this in my retirement account. I want a bunch of rental properties. So I go in there and I go, okay, I can buy this property. Let's say I set my bid at $5,000 and I win at $5,000. I put a little bit of rehab money into that. Now I've got some rental income coming into my retirement account. Free and clear, owning it all day long. I have a student from years ago, young guy, him and his wife, getting involved. They're doing all sorts of things. They were like champions. They were making so much money, doing a phenomenal deal. I can't remember how. They did a couple dozen deals. Yeah, some big deals. I said, you got to start looking at Arkansas. They're like, why would I ever look at Arkansas? And then they saw this deal. I think they paid like $1,500. Okay, ended up with the property and ended up selling it for $54,000. Again, it's so funny because people get caught up in this. I'm going to buy this house. I'm going to fix it up and sell it for several $100,000. Okay, I can buy a lot of steaks with $50,000 here, $20,000 here, $30,000 here. Okay, you don't always need to go for the big deals. So those little small ones like you have in Arkansas are phenomenal. Make sure you do your research. Make sure you understand how this works and that you're owning the property. Now, even in Arkansas, just like everywhere else I've told, as soon as I buy that deed on that property, I'm going to need to clear the property up, okay? And I'm not talking about the property itself. I'm talking about the title. So even though I bought it at a tax sale and nothing else survives it, I still got to uncloud the title. And in order to do that, you're going to need to hire somebody to make that happen. Very nominal fee to make that happen. But all they're doing is scrubbing. They're cleaning the title on that property. So if there were any liens and encumbrances on it that got wiped out, we want to clear those up. Because later on, if you want to go to sell that property, nobody's going to buy it until you clear that property out. Okay, this is the way you make big money in the state of Arkansas and in tax deed certificates. There is so much more information we go. We barely touched on this and we kind of focused on building your retirement with the properties in Arkansas. There's a lot more going on there. So guess what? I've got some free video training for you. Just hit the link down below on this very subject right now, higginsmethod.com. Watch those videos. That's my gift to you. Thank you very much. I'll see you in the winner's circle. This is Saen Higgins saying God bless and good luck.